TYM tractor. As I mentioned in my other video, I thought really hard about other brands, and I was looking at the budget, trying to stay under that $4,000 range, anywhere from like $38,000 to $44,000. I was trying to stay in that range, which is a lot of money for a tractor, especially nowadays. I remember, 7, 8 years ago, looking at the same model cab tractor, and I could have picked up, one for, $30,000, pre-pandemic. But like everything else, things went up. Yeah, most of my equipment is a John Deere. I do have some Case IH stuff, but the Deere models and the Kubotas and the Case IHs, they were just out of the price range on what I felt comfortable going for in that 55, 60 horsepower range cab models. So I narrowed it down to a LS 357 and the Bad Boy 5055. I know the Bad Boy 5055 is made by TYM. The LS, is a very nice tractor. I looked at them at a dealership a while back. The LS was priced on the upper end. To get a LS with all that I have on the TYM 574, such as the loaded rear tires, the third function kit on the front loader, I was looking, about that $48,000 range. The Bad Boy was actually a little bit cheaper of an option, but I just felt kind of cramped in the cab of the Bad Boy compared to the cab of the TYM 574. So that was my decision on that. Now, I really like the Bad Boys. There is a couple dealers within a couple hours of my home that sell and service the Bad Boy tractors. I went to the Equipment Expo in Louisville, Kentucky, as you've seen in one of my other videos, back in late October. At the time, I had my eye on some cab tractors, but I never thought I'd ever be able to afford one or would be able to get one. But I did look at the Bad Boys, got a set inside of a Bad Boy, 50-45, and I believe a 50-55 at that show. And I really liked them. A lot of nice features, and the price was good on them. But again, the cab felt a little bit tight compared to the 574. So that was one of my decisions. I originally, when this whole deal come down about me wanting to get a cab tractor, it was sometime in early December. I'd had pneumonia every year, going almost a half mile to go feed the animals, one way, twice a day, from the house, and just the cold weather, and just several things, being in the elements, just really has started getting to me the last 4 years since we built a new barn across the road. Because getting to the barn from the house, it's almost a half mile, because we got to go down a road, down another road, back across the property. Even though the barn's technically sitting over the hill from the house, it's not exactly easy to get to. But in early December, I just had about enough. I couldn't handle. I was sick again. I just was, fighting my old Agco Alice 4660. It was still a good running tractor, but it started getting kind of cold in December. It was getting hard to start it, trying to move round bells. I just said, I'm going to look for a cab tractor. I'd already been looking, but I made my decision I was going to go try to get something. So I had a offer on the 4660 and I took it. Was able to use the money I got from it and some other stuff I sold and paid off my outstanding debts. So it cleared up a lot of things, and was able to get a tractor. But a long story short, I'd already been looking, like I said, several models, different brands. I had found Station 23, who is the dealer I got this from, through Facebook. They were advertising some 474s, TYM 474s, that is, on Facebook. Well, and I thought, well, I'll run down there and take a look and see what they got. And I went down originally, looked at the 474s. Station 23 is located about an hour and a half from me. They're in between Louisa and Paintsville, Kentucky. And I got down there, and the 474 kind of felt like the bad boys to me, the cab. It was a good running tractor. Nothing wrong with it. It just felt cramped, which I'm a bigger guy. Pedals were just too far back, and I just felt kind of cramped in it. And I happened to look over beside of it, sitting there on the lot, and they had one 574 left. And it happens to be the one I got. So I asked my salesman, Cody, hey, could I test drive that one and take a look at it? I got in that TYM 574 and I absolutely fell in love with it. It felt like me, had plenty of room. So we worked out a deal and I got it. So that's how I ended up with the TYM 574. Now, I also didn't mention, but I will now, that I did look at the New Holland Workmaster 55 cab models. They had some New Holland Workmaster 55s about 2 hours from me up in north central West Virginia at a dealership called Parks Equipment. And they were priced pretty good. But I still was going to be about $8,000 more than the TYM, which I do know the Workmaster 55 is a little bit beefier tractor, I guess you could say. But my concern was it wasn't a hydro, it was a shuttle shift. And for my wife to be able to drive a shuttle shift, she's just not comfortable with. Also, I've had some people tell me that those Workmaster 55s, they're a great tractor. I love the New Holland stuff. I've had a couple people tell me that some of them aren't as easy to start in the wintertime. I don't know that. I've just heard that from a few people. But other than that, I love the New Holland Workmaster 55. But it was just a little bit bigger than what I was really wanting to go for. Because I am keeping my Case IH 485. And I still have the John Deere 3032. And, I don't think this TYM 574 will do me well. I did have the block heater installed on the TYM 574. Had the rear tires loaded, and I had third function kit added. I really think that one of the major selling points for me on the TYM, other than the cab, and you can say price point, was that I do have a dealer within an hour and a half. I know, but where I live at, my only choice is really John Deere, maybe a Kubota dealer. That's about it. But I think too the Coupe J diesel sold me. I've talked to a lot of folks. I've done a lot of research. Watched a lot of other YouTube channels, and everybody's always said, the Coupe J's were a pretty reliable diesel engine. They start good in the cold weather. So far, um, after almost 2 weeks of owning uh, this TYM 574, we've had some very cold mornings, 5, 6 degrees, and I haven't even plugged that tractor up, and I went right out and started it. So that's a good selling point to me. I really haven't had enough time to say I found a weakness on the 574 yet, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna find something, but so far, no complaints. Um, so we'll see where it goes. I had a gentleman reach out to me since I posted this last video about owning the TYM 574 and wanted to go pick it up, and he said, "Why didn't you consider the Rural King RK55?" And that's a good point, because I know this TYM 574 is almost the same tractor as the RK 55, except for the fact that the TYM branded 574 has the Coupe J diesel, and I believe the Rural King model has the MR diesel, which is still a great engine. I have an MR diesel engine in my John Deere. It's been a great engine. Um, but I still think it comes down to probably service. Um, I'd rather buy from an independent dealer, just me, that I know I can get it serviced at, and I know I can get parts. Which I hear people saying, "Well, TYM, you can't get parts." I've talked to people, other dealers, people in general, and I guess there is some parts that are an issue, but it can be like that with any brand. I mean, I'm not going to try to start a political war here or whatever, but I've had parts from John Deere that I've been 3 months to get. Because I own several John Deere pieces. I've had stuff from John Deere. It's great. I can go right to the counter and get what I need and go on. But I know it can be like that with any brand. Um, but I still like the fact to be able to buy from a local dealer that I know will service what they sell. And that's another reason I chose Station 23 down in Ulysses, Kentucky, where I bought it at, because I've always had people to tell me that, they take care of their customers, and, if you have a problem, they get right on it. And I've seen that out of them just in my experience of buying. They cared about making sure I had what I wanted. I mean, they helped me load the tractor, bind it down. Heck, they even noticed that a couple of my trailer tires needed some air. They had me to back over. They filled the tires with air. I mean, that's just service you aren't going to get in a lot of places, and that's why I went with them. And I never know. I might buy something else from them. I hope I can. But they were excellent, and I'm very lucky to have them within an hour and a half of my home. But I'd like to thank you for coming along today for another video, and I have more content coming, and I appreciate it. Comment, like, and subscribe.